Hey guys, tonight we're diving into the messy, awkward, and oddly empowering world of rejection. Think of it as the universe's way of saying, nah, try again, champ. Picture this. You're curled up under a cozy blanket, the faint glow of your screen casting shadows on the wall, while outside the world is quiet, maybe just the occasional cricket chirping. Honestly, if rejection were a person, it'd be that one friend who always cancels plans last minute. You'd be annoyed, but you'd probably survive. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment below letting me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is there. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. All right, let's get real for a second. Rejection stings. Whether it's a thanks but no thanks from a job interview, a text that just reads K after you poured your heart out, or even a literal door slammed in your face, it's like a tiny paper cut to your ego. Small, but ouch, it burns. But here's the thing. Rejection isn't just a roadblock. It's a weird, twisted kind of teacher. It's the universe's way of building you up, brick by brick, into someone who can take a hit and keep swinging. And tonight, we're starting with how embracing rejection can shape resilience, turning those no's into the fuel for your hell yes moments. Let's travel back in time for a hot minute to a historical heavyweight who knew rejection like the back of his hand, Thomas Edison. You've probably heard of him, guy who invented the light bulb, right? Well, sorta. Here's the official history bit. Edison didn't invent the light bulb out of thin air. He perfected it after years of trial and error. We're talking thousands of failed experiments, over 10,000 by some counts, before he got that little filament to glow just right. Each failure was a rejection of his idea, a big fat nope from physics itself. But instead of throwing in the towel, Edison famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Talk about flipping the script on rejection. That persistence turned him into a legend, and now his name is literally synonymous with bright ideas. So next time you flip a light switch, remember, that glow is powered by a whole lot of no's. Now for a weirder, fringier tidbit. You know there's a story floating around that Edison once tried to use a bizarre material like bamboo for his filament? Yeah, bamboo. Not exactly the first thing you'd think of when brainstorming electrical components. Apparently, he sent teams across the globe to test over 6,000 types of plant fibers, and bamboo from Japan ended up being a winner for a while. Imagine that, your desk lamp powered by something you'd more likely find in a panda's lunch tray. It's one of those oddball details that makes you wonder if Edison was just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what stuck. Aside, kinda like when you're trying to pick a Netflix show and just click random stuff at 2 a.m., right? Of course, not everyone agrees on Edison's saintly status as the king of resilience. Historians still argue whether Edison's success was more about grit or just having the resources and team to outlast everyone else. Was he a lone genius battling rejection or a savvy businessman who could afford to fail 10,000 times while others couldn't afford one? It's a spicy debate, and I'm not here to pick a side, just to whisper it into your ear while you're half asleep. Let's sprinkle in a little humor here. First off, imagine Edison's lab assistants during attempt number 9,909 by 9. They're probably like, Boss, are we sure this isn't just a really expensive candle-making hobby? Second, rejection is basically the original ghosting. Someone says no, and you're left wondering if you even existed to them in the first place. And third, if rejection were a sport, we'd all be Olympic gold medalists by now. Admit it. You've got a trophy case of no's somewhere in your past. Now, close your eyes for a second and feel this, the soft weight of your blanket pressing down, the cool air from that fan brushing against your cheek, the faint hum in the background like a lullaby. Rejection might sting, but in this moment, It's just a story, a distant memory you can almost touch, like the texture of worn-out notebook pages where you scribbled your old dreams. It's not here to hurt you right now, it's just a shadow passing by. So how do you start embracing rejection like Edison did? First step, stop taking it personally. Easier said than done, I know. At a side like when your Wi-Fi drops right before a Zoom call and you're convinced the universe hates you specifically. But think about it. Most of the time a no isn't about you. It's about timing, fit, or just someone else's. Bad day. Edison didn't cry into his lab coat every time a filament burned out. He just grabbed another one and kept going. You've got to reframe it. Rejection isn't a dead end. It's a detour sign pointing you somewhere else. Maybe that job wasn't for you because something better is waiting. Maybe that person who didn't text back saved you from a lifetime of bad playlists. Who knows? Let's dig a little deeper into why this matters. When you embrace rejection, you're not just dodging the hurt, you're building resilience. It's like working out a muscle. Each time you get knocked down and get back up, you're a little stronger, a little tougher. You start to see no as feedback, not failure. And here's a modern twist. Think about all those viral TikTok creators who got rejected by algorithms 100 times before a video blew up. Aside, seriously, how many cringy dances did they post before the right one hit 1 million views? Rejection in the digital age is just as brutal, but the resilient ones keep posting, keep tweaking, keep going. That's the Edison energy we're channeling tonight. Now, let's talk about the flip side for a second. Embracing rejection doesn't mean you have to love it. You're allowed to feel the sting, to sulk for a day, to eat an entire pint of ice cream while binge-watching something mindless. But don't stay there. Feel it, then let it go. Picture yourself sitting by a quiet lake, the water still, the air cool against your skin. Each rejection is a pebble you toss in. There's a ripple, a small splash, but then it sinks, and the surface smooths out again. You're still here, still whole. As we ease into this idea, think about a time you've been rejected. Maybe it was small, like a group project where no one picked you, or big, like a dream school saying no. Can you feel the echo of that moment? The heat in your cheeks? The tightness in your chest? Now, breathe out. Let that memory soften, like the edges of a dream, just before you wake up. Edison faced thousands of rejections, and yet here we are, centuries later, talking about his glow. Your no's are just chapters, not the whole story. So tonight, as you're lying there, wrapped in the quiet, let's start small. Think of one rejection that's been nagging at you. Maybe it's fresh, maybe it's old. Whisper to yourself, yes, out loud if you're feeling brave, that it's okay. That no doesn't define you. It's just a stepping stone, a little bump on the road to something brighter. Feel the weight of that thought settle, like a warm hand on your shoulder, steady and sure. We've got a long journey ahead, unpacking how resilient minds turn rejection into remarkable fortunes. But for now, rest in this. Rejection isn't the end. It's the beginning of your grit, your comeback, your glow. Let that sink in as your breathing slows, as the hum of the fan or the quiet of the night wraps around you like a soft cocoon. We'll keep exploring this together, peeling back the layers of history and heart, one whispered story at a time. Hey there, welcome back to our cozy little corner of history. I hope you've got your blanket pulled up just right, maybe a warm mug of something nearby, because we're about to dive into the messy, inspiring world of rejection. Not just any rejection, though. Oh no, we're talking about the kind that history's biggest names had to swallow before they could carve their names into eternity. So, settle in. Let me lower my voice just a touch, like we're whispering secrets in the dark, and let's unpack how resilient minds turned no into heck yes. Picture this. You're sitting at a desk, or maybe pacing around your room, and you've just been told your big idea, your dream, is a total flop. It stings, right? That sharp little jab in your chest, like someone poked you with a cold spoon. Now multiply that by 100, because the folks we're talking about today didn't just get rejected by a friend or a boss, they got rejected by the world, or at least it felt that way. But here's the kicker. They didn't just survive it, they flipped the script and made fortunes, literal and metaphorical, out of those setbacks. And you? You're about to learn how they did it, so the next time life hands you a thanks, but no thanks, you can smirk and say, "Watch me." Let's start with a name you've probably heard a million times. Thomas Edison. Yeah, the light bulb guy. But before he lit up the world, literally, he was pretty much the poster child for getting told no. Historical fact number 1. Edison failed over 1,000 times while trying to perfect the incandescent light bulb. 1,000. That's not just a bad day, that's a bad decade. He kept tinkering, kept burning through ideas, and probably a few fingers, knowing how sketchy early electricity was, until he finally cracked it in 1879. But here's the thing, each no wasn't a dead end for him, it was just a detour. He famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Imagine having that kind of stubbornness, that grit, while everyone around you is probably whispering, "Tom, maybe stick to candles, buddy." As if candles could ever compete with Netflix binges, can you imagine streaming by candlelight? Total mood killer. Now for a weirder slice of Edison's story, a fringe detail that'll make you raise an eyebrow. Did you know he once tried to invent a spirit phone to talk to the dead? Yeah, around the 1920s, he got it in his head that he could build a device to communicate with departed souls. No surprise, it didn't work, and the world rejected that idea harder than a kid rejects broccoli. But think about it. Even after 1,000 light bulb flops, he was still willing to chase wild, out-there concepts, knowing full well he might get laughed at. That's resilience with a side of, "I don't care what you think." And honestly, in today's world, isn't that kind of the vibe we need? Like, go ahead, pitch your weird app idea on Shark Tank. Worst case, you're just another spirit phone. Of course, not everyone agrees on Edison's legacy. Historians still argue whether he was truly a genius inventor or just a master at taking credit for his team's work. Some say he was more of a businessman than a scientist, building on others' ideas, like Nikola Tesla's, who, by the way, got rejected even harder, but that's a debate for another night. What matters here is that Edison didn't let rejection define him, whether it came from failed experiments or skeptical peers. He reprogrammed his response to no and kept pushing. And you can too. Let's shift gears to another heavyweight of history who knew rejection like the back of their hand. J.K. Rowling. Before she was the queen of Hogwarts, she was just a struggling single mom with a manuscript that nobody wanted. Hard fact, her first Harry Potter book, The Philosopher's Stone, was rejected by 12 publishers before Bloomsbury finally took a chance on it in 1997. 12. That's a whole dozen doors slammed in her face. Imagine the weight of that, sitting alone at a tiny desk in a chilly Edinburgh cafe, scribbling away while wondering if you're just wasting your time. Feel that draft creeping under the door, the faint smell of old coffee grounds in the air, the quiet clink of a spoon against a chipped mug. That's the texture of rejection she lived through. But she didn't stop. She rewrote her response to no with every new draft, every new submission, until the world finally said yes, and then some. Side note, if I had a galleon, for every time I've reread Harry Potter, I'd be richer than Gringotts. Anyone else guilty of midnight rereads? Now for a quirky little tidbit about Rowling's journey, something on the fringe. Rumor has it that when she was at her lowest, scraping by on welfare, she used to write in cafes, not just for the warmth, but because she believed the background noise helped her focus. Some even say she'd pick tables near chatty strangers to overhear snippets of conversation for inspiration. True or not, It paints a picture of someone so determined to create that even rejection couldn't drown out her imagination. She turned no into background noise, literally. And hey, in our modern scroll-heavy lives, isn't that a lesson? Next time you're ghosted on a job app or a DM, just imagine it as cafe chatter. Annoying, but not the end of your story. And speaking of debates, historians and literary scholars still argue whether Rowling's success was pure talent or a stroke of timing. Did she tap into a cultural hunger for magic at just the right moment, or was her storytelling truly one of a kind? We'll let the academics bicker over that while we sip our metaphorical tea. What's undeniable is that she didn't let 12 rejections break her. She reprogrammed that pain into persistence, and now her fortune, both in wealth and impact, is, well, magical. All right, let's toss in one more quick example before we start winding down this section. Ever heard of Walt Disney? Yeah, of course you have. But did you know he was fired from a newspaper job early in his career because, get this, his editor said he lacked imagination and had no good ideas? I'm sorry, what? This is the guy who gave us Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, and a childhood full of dreams. Talk about a rejection that aged like milk. Honestly, if I got fired for lacking imagination, I'd probably just start a TikTok about it and call it content. Modern problems, am I right? Disney took that no, dusted himself off, and built an empire that still makes us cry over animated lions and singing princesses. If that's not reprogramming rejection, I don't know what is. So, as you're lying there, maybe feeling the soft weight of your pillow under your head, let me ask you this. What's your no right now? That project you shelved? That dream? You're scared to chase because someone might laugh. Feel the quiet of this moment, the gentle hum of the night around you, maybe the faint tick of a clock somewhere in the distance. Rejection isn't a wall, it's just a speed bump. Edison, Rowling, Disney. They all hit those bumps over and over and still sped right past them. And here's a little chuckle for you. If Walt Disney lacked imagination, then I'm basically Picasso with my stick figure doodles. Okay, maybe not, but let me dream. Here's the modern aside for tonight. Rejection today often hides behind a screen. A job application ghosted, a post that flops, a text left on read. It's less in your face than a publisher's letter or a pink slip, but it still stings. So take a page from history, literally, and reframe it. Every no is just data, a stepping stone, a weird spirit phone experiment that didn't pan out. You've got this. And speaking of data, let's toss in one last laugh before we move on. If Edison had 10,000 failed attempts, and I fail at parallel parking just once, does that make me 9,999 times more efficient? Math checks out, right? All right, maybe not. But it's late, and I'm allowed one bad joke. So, as you sink a little deeper into your cozy spot, remember this. Rejection isn't the end of your story. It's just the rough draft. Edison burned through 1,000 ideas. Rowling rewrote her pain into wizardry, and Disney turned a brutal no into a mouse-shaped yes. You're not alone in feeling the sting, but you've got the power to reprogram how you respond. Feel that soft warmth around you, the quiet of the night settling in like a gentle hug. We've got more to unpack in the next section, but for now, just rest on this thought. Every no is a chance to write a better yes. Let's keep this journey going soon, okay? Stick with me. Hey there. Welcome back to this cozy corner of history and headspace. If you're just tuning in, we've been diving deep into how rejection isn't the end of the world. It's more like a weird, cranky GPS rerouting you to a better destination. So settle in with your favorite blanket, maybe a warm mug of something soothing, and let's keep this journey rolling. I'm speaking soft and slow tonight so you can feel that gentle ASMR tingle as we explore how to reframe rejection as a golden opportunity. Picture this. You've just been turned down for something big. Maybe it's a job, a project, or even a date. Your stomach does that little flip like you've missed a step on the stairs, and your brain starts playing a highlight reel of every awkward moment in your life. Ouch, right? But here's the thing. You've got the power to flip the script. Rejection doesn't have to be a brick wall. It can be a detour sign pointing you towards something even better. And trust me, history is packed with folks who turned a big fat no into a neon-lit yes. So let's unpack this mindset shift together with a few whispers from the past to guide us. First up, let's travel back to the 19th century and meet a guy who practically turned rejection into an art form, Thomas Edison. You've probably heard of him. He's the light bulb dude, the wizard of electricity. But did you know that before he lit up the world, he got laughed out of rooms more times than a stand-up comedian bombing on open mic night? Hey, imagine Edison doing a tight five about failed filaments. Talk about dim humor. Seriously, though, Edison faced rejection after rejection when pitching his ideas. Investors thought he was nuts. Colleagues rolled their eyes. And yet, he racked up over 1,000 patents in his lifetime. His secret? He didn't see no as a stop sign. Every rejection was just feedback, a nudge to tinker a little more. One historical truth stands out. Edison's first successful light bulb in 1879 wasn't a fluke. It came after thousands of failed experiments. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Talk about reframing a slap in the face into a high five with destiny. Now, here's a weirder tidbit, a fringe detail that'll make you raise an eyebrow. Rumor has it that Edison kept a rejection journal, a little notebook, where he scribbled down every harsh word or slam door he encountered. Not to wallow, mind you, but to fuel his fire. Some say he'd read through it late at night, chuckling to himself like a mad scientist, plotting revenge through innovation. Is it true? We don't have hard evidence, but it paints a picture of a man who didn't just endure rejection. He danced with it. Imagine him sitting by a flickering lamp, pen in hand, turning "you're crazy" into "just watch me." Feel that little shiver down your spine as you picture it? That's the power of mindset. Of course, not everyone agrees on Edison's saintly perseverance. Historians still argue whether his relentless drive was pure genius or just stubbornness, bordering on obsession. Did he reframe rejection as opportunity, or was he simply too bullheaded to quit? It's a debate that keeps history nerds up at night, probably with Edison's own light bulb glaring over their books. So, how does this apply to you right now as you're curled up listening to my voice? Think about the last time someone said no to you. Maybe it was a boss passing on your idea or a friend ghosting your plans. Instead of letting it sting, what if you treated it like Edison's failed experiments, a data point, not a dead end? Ask yourself, what can I tweak? Where's the hidden door here? It's like debugging code in a video game. Sure, it's annoying, but each glitch gets you closer to the epic boss battle. And hey, if life's a game, rejection's just the tutorial level, right? Gotta grind through it. Let's add another layer with a modern aside. Ever scroll through social media and see those influencers with their perfect lives, acting like they've never heard the word no? Spoiler alert, they have. Behind every glossy post is a pile of rejected sponsorships, ignored DMs, and audition tapes that went nowhere. They just don't show the blooper reel. So next time you're feeling down, remember, even the TikTok stars had to reframe their flops into fuel. Maybe you're not viral yet, but you're trending in your own story. Now let's slow down and sink into a sensory moment. Close your eyes for a sec and imagine you're sitting in Edison's workshop. There's a faint smell of burnt wire in the air, a soft crackle of static from some contraption in the corner. Your fingers brush against the rough wood of his desk, and you can almost feel the weight of all those no's he turned into not yets. It's quiet, save for the hum of ideas buzzing in your own head. Let that calm wash over you. Rejection isn't a monster under the bed. It's just a shadow you can step over. Here's another little chuckle for you. Imagine pitching your big idea to a room full of skeptics, only to realize halfway through that your fly's been down. The whole time. Been there, done that, thankfully not on Zoom or I'd be a meme by now. But seriously, even if you flub the pitch, that's not the end. It's just a funny story for later, a chance to laugh at yourself and try again with better pants. And speaking of trying again, let's not forget that reframing rejection isn't just about stubbornness, it's about curiosity. What's on the other side of no? Maybe it's a skill you didn't know you needed to learn or a connection you hadn't thought to make. Think of it like accidentally swiping left on a dating app, only to match with someone way cooler the next day. Okay, dating apps are a rejection minefield. Swipe at your own risk, folks. The point is, every no is a nudge toward a yes you didn't see coming. Let's wrap this section with one more light-hearted jab. If rejection were a person, it'd be that annoying gym bro who keeps telling you no pain, no gain while flexing in the mirror. Irritating? Sure. But kinda right? You've got to push through the discomfort to build something stronger, whether it's muscles or a mindset. So next time rejection flexes on you, just smirk and say, challenge accepted. As we ease out of this mindset shift, take a deep breath with me. Inhale and exhale. Feel your shoulders loosen, your thoughts soften. Rejection isn't a verdict, it's a conversation. And you get to decide how it ends. Maybe you're picturing yourself standing a little taller, brushing off a no like it's dust on your jacket. Or maybe you're just feeling the cool pillow under your head, letting my voice guide you into a quieter space. Either way, you're rewriting the story. Every no is just a plot twist, not the finale. We've still got more to explore on this journey of resilience and remarkable fortunes, so stick with me. For now, let that idea simmer as you relax into the moment. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing, the faint hum of the world outside fading away. We're building something unbreakable here, one whispered story at a time. Let's keep going in the next section, where we'll uncover even more secrets from history's toughest minds. Until then, just rest easy, knowing you've got the power to turn any rejection into a stepping stone. Hey there, my late-night history buffs. Let's keep this journey rolling as we dive into the meat of how you can build resilience and turn rejection into your personal stepping stone. Picture yourself curled up under a soft blanket. The room just dim enough to feel cozy, with the faint scent of lavender or maybe a warm mug of chamomile tea nearby. We're not just talking about toughening up here. We're crafting a mental fortress, brick by brick, whisper by whisper. So settle in, let your shoulders relax, and let's explore how to make your mind as unbreakable as a medieval castle, minus the moat, unless you're into that. Now, building resilience isn't about becoming a robot who feels nothing when rejection slaps you in the face. Nah, it's about learning how to take the hit, dust yourself off, and maybe even smirk a little while you're at it. Think of it like training for a mental marathon, except instead of running shoes, you've got strategies, and instead of a finish line, you've got a fortune waiting. Let's break this down with some historical inspo, a sprinkle of weirdness, and a few tricks you can try right now, all while I keep my voice nice and low, like a friend murmuring secrets in the dark. First up, let's travel back to the 19th century and meet a guy who practically wrote the book on resilience, Thomas Edison. You've heard of him, right? The light bulb dude? Well, here's the historical truth. Edison didn't just fail once or twice before inventing the incandescent light bulb. He failed over 1,000 times. That's not a typo. Over 1,000 experiments went kaput before he got it right. But here's the kicker. He didn't see those as failures. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Imagine that kind of mental toughness. Every no was just a detour, not a dead end. So, when rejection stings, channel your inner Edison. Whisper to yourself, this isn't a flop, it's just one more way that doesn't work. Feel the weight of that mindset shift, like a cool breeze on a sticky summer night. Now, for a bit of fringe history that'll make you raise an eyebrow. There's a lesser-known story floating around about Edison that claims he kept a failure journal. Supposedly, he'd scribble down every botched experiment with a little note on what he learned, turning his setbacks into a weird kind of treasure map. Is it true? Who knows? There's no hard evidence, just whispers among quirky historians. But imagine if you did that. Grab a notebook, jot down every rejection, and beside it, write one thing you've learned. Maybe it's don't pitch ideas at 3 a.m. Or next time, double-check the Wi-Fi before a Zoom call. Turn your ugh moments into aha ones. Can't you just feel the texture of a pen gliding over paper as you reclaim that power? And speaking of historical debates, historians still argue whether Edison's relentless persistence was pure genius or just stubbornness on steroids. Was he a visionary who knew failure was part of the game, or a guy who couldn't take a hint? That's for you to mull over as your eyelids get a little heavier. Either way, his story screams one thing. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about reframing it. Let's pivot to some actionable strategies now, because I'm not just here to tell old stories. I'm here to help you build that mental toughness tonight. First trick, practice micro-rejections. Yep, you heard me. Go out and ask for something small you know you'll get turned down for. Ask a barista for a free coffee upgrade. Ask a friend to borrow their fancy car for the weekend. The point isn't to win. It's to feel the no and realize it doesn't kill you. It's like dipping your toes in cold water. Shocking at first, but then you're like, hey, I've got this. And hey, if they say yes, bonus points for charm. Aside, honestly, if you pull that off, drop a comment. I need to know your secret sauce. Second strategy, create a rejection ritual. Sounds fancy, right? It's not. After a setback, do something physical to shake it off. Maybe it's taking a deep breath and shaking out your hands, feeling the tension slip from your fingertips like sand. Or maybe it's putting on your favorite hype song and dancing like nobody's watching. Bonus if it's in your PJs. For me, it's muttering, well, that was a plot twist, and sipping some overpriced iced coffee. Aside, why is iced coffee so expensive anyway? It's literally just cold sadness in a cup. The point is, tie a physical action to letting go. It's like telling your brain, we're done with this chapter, next page. Third, let's talk self-talk. I know, it sounds like something your overly peppy gym coach would say, but hear me out. The way you narrate rejection in your head matters. Instead of, I'm a total failure, try, that didn't land, but I'm still in the game. It's like rewriting a bad movie script. Same plot, but now you're the underdog hero instead of the sad sidekick. Whisper those words to yourself right now, under your breath. Feel how they shift the vibe in your chest, like a warm glow spreading. Slowly, here's a little chuckle for you. Building resilience is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture. You think you've got it figured out, then bam, there's a spare screw and no idea where it goes. But somehow, you make it work, even if the shelf leans a little. Life's rejections are those spare screws, annoying, but not the end of thy world. And speaking of leaning, ever notice how rejection feels like a wobbly chair? You're just sitting there, minding your own business, and suddenly, tilt. But hey, you catch yourself, laugh it off, and keep sitting. That's resilience in a nutshell. One more light jab before we move on. Trying to toughen up mentally is like signing up for a cooking class and burning toast on day one. You're not Gordon Ramsay yet, but give it time. You'll be whipping up 5-star comebacks soon enough. Aside, seriously though, who actually burns toast? Isn't that like cooking 101? Asking for a friend. Let's weave in another historical angle to ground this. Think about the ancient Stoics, those Greek and Roman philosophers who basically invented the art of not sweating the small stuff. Their core idea? Focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Rejection from a job, a date, or even a social media post not getting likes. None of that is fully in your hands. But how you respond, that's all you. So take a slow breath with me right now. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Feel the air cool your nerves like a soft wave lapping at the shore. The Stoics would approve. Now, imagine stacking. These strategies like building blocks. Micro-rejections desensitize you, rituals reset you, self-talk reframes you. Together they're like a cozy mental blanket, wrapping you up so rejection can't chill your bones. Picture that warmth now, spreading from your toes to your fingertips as you sink deeper into your pillow or couch. You're not just surviving setbacks. You're crafting a mindset that turns no into not yet. Let's linger on that sensory note for a sec. Think about the last time rejection stung. Maybe it felt like a tight knot in your stomach or a hot flush on your cheeks. Now imagine replacing that with something softer. Maybe the sensation of sinking into a warm bath, the water gently hugging every inch of you, washing away the sting. Or picture yourself stepping outside after a rainstorm, the air crisp and clean, your breath visible as you exhale the weight of a no. Hold on to that feeling as we ease through this. Before we wrap this section, let's circle back to Edison and the Stoics. They didn't just endure rejection, they danced with it. They saw every setback as a teacher, not a tyrant. So next time, life hands you a thanks but no thanks. Smirk a little. Tell yourself, all right, lesson learned. What's next? Feel the strength in that shift, like flexing a muscle you didn't even know you had, as we wind down this part of our journey. Take one more slow breath with me. Let your mind drift on the idea that resilience isn't built overnight. It's a quiet, steady process, like waves smoothing a rough stone over time. You're on your way, step by step, whisper by whisper. In the next section, we'll explore how to turn this mental toughness into real-world wins. But for now, just rest in this moment. Let the weight of the day slip off your shoulders, soft as a feather floating to the ground. Hey there, my late-night history buffs. Let's keep this cozy train rolling as we dive into how persistence, yes, that stubborn grit you've been summoning, can carve out the kind of fortunes that make jaws drop. Picture yourself tucked under a soft, slightly too warm blanket, the kind that makes you wiggle your toes for a cool spot. We're not just talking spare change here. We're talking life-altering, history-making success. So settle in, let that gentle hum of your bedside lamp, or maybe your phone's glow, be your guide. And let's chat about how rejection's cold shoulder can turn into a golden handshake. Now, if you've been following along, you've already seen how resilient minds twist setbacks into setups for something bigger. Tonight, we're zooming in on the payoff. You've pushed through the no's, the eye rolls, the doors slammed in your face, metaphorically, of course, because, ouch. But what happens when that persistence finally cracks open the vault of opportunity? Spoiler, it's not just a pat on the back. It's the kind of success that rewrites your story, and maybe even the history books. Let's explore how digging in your heels can lead to treasures you didn't even know existed. First up, let's ground ourselves with a solid historical truth. Take the story of Thomas Edison. Yeah, the light bulb guy. But stick with me. Edison didn't just stumble into inventing one of the most game-changing devices ever. He faced over 1,000 failed experiments before that iconic filament finally glowed. 1,000. Imagine you're Edison, tinkering away in a dimly lit workshop, the smell of burnt wire lingering in the air, your hands smudged with soot, and yet another prototype fizzles out. Most folks would have thrown in the towel, maybe taken up knitting instead. But Edison, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's persistence on steroids. By 1879, he had his breakthrough, and the world hasn't been dark since. His fortune wasn't just financial, though, trust me, he wasn't hurting for cash. It was a legacy that literally lit up the modern era. So when rejection stings, think of Edison's 1,000 no's turning into a blinding yes. Now, for a little weirdness to spice things up, Let's dip into a fringe detail about Edison that'll make you raise an eyebrow. Did you know he was obsessed with communicating with the dead? Yup, towards the end of his life, he reportedly worked on a spirit phone, a device meant to pick up voices from the afterlife. Picture yourself in his lab, surrounded by clunky gadgets, hearing static crackle through some bizarre contraption, half expecting a ghost to say, "Hey Tom, nice light bulb." It's unclear if he ever got a spectral dial tone, but it shows even the most grounded minds can chase wild ideas when they've got persistence to spare. Maybe rejection made him think, if the living won't listen, I'll try the dead. Okay, small chuckle there, don't wake up your roommate. And here's where the academics get feisty. Historians still argue whether Edison's success was pure persistence or if he leaned heavily on the work of others, like Nikola Tesla, who some say got the short end of the stick in the invention game. Was Edison a genius of grit or just a savvy businessman who knew how to market a good idea? That debate's been simmering for decades, and I'm not here to settle it, just to whisper it in your ear as you ponder under those cozy covers. Let's bring this back to you. Imagine you're in Edison's shoes, or maybe just your own scuffed-up sneakers. You've been told no 100 times, whether it's a job, a dream project, or even asking for extra fries at the drive-thru. Hey, rejection comes in all sizes, right? But each no is just a detour, not a dead end. Feel the weight of that last rejection lift a little as you picture yourself trying one more time. Maybe it's the late-night email you send, fingers trembling over the send button, or the pitch you rehearse in the mirror, your reflection looking just as nervous as you feel. Persistence isn't glamorous, it's sweaty, frustrating, and sometimes involves way too much coffee. But when it pays off, oh, it's sweeter than that first sip of hot cocoa on a winter night. Speaking of paying off, let's toss in a modern aside. Think about today's entrepreneurs, say someone like Elon Musk. The guy's been laughed out of rooms for ideas like reusable rockets or electric cars that don't look like golf carts. Now, he's sending cars into space just to mess with us. Persistence isn't just a history lesson, it's the TikTok trend that never goes out of style. And if you're scrolling TikTok right now instead of sleeping, I'm judging you just a tiny bit. Go on, put it down. Here's another little giggle for you. Persistence is basically the historical version of texting someone you up. At 2 a.m., it's awkward, desperate, and you're not sure if they'll reply, but hey, you've committed now. And when they do answer, boom, you're in business. Okay, maybe not the best analogy, but you get the vibe. Keep showing up, even when it feels like the universe is ghosting you. Let's paint another sensory moment to ground you. Imagine you're sitting at an old wooden desk, the kind that creaks every time you shift. There's a faint scratch of pencil on paper as you jot down your next big idea, the air smelling faintly of dust and determination. Your heart's racing, but there's this quiet strength in your chest telling you to keep going. That's the feeling of persistence building a fortune, not just in gold, but in grit, in character, in stories you'll tell for years. And one more laugh before we wrap this section. Persistence is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture. You've got a million tiny pieces. The instructions might as well be in ancient hieroglyphs, and you're pretty sure you're missing a screw. But when it finally comes together, you're basically a carpenter king. That's the fortune waiting for you on the other side of rejection. Now let's tie this into something you can chew on as you drift closer to dreamland. Every no you faced is just a stepping stone, not a wall. Edison didn't stop. At failure number 999, and neither should you. Fortunes, whether they're piles of cash, a dream come true, or just the quiet pride of knowing you didn't quit, come to those who keep knocking, even when the door feels like it's made of steel. And hey, another modern aside. In today's world, persistence might mean refreshing that inbox for a reply or sliding into those DMs with your big idea. Just don't be creepy about it, okay? We're keeping this PG-13. So, as you lie there, maybe with one leg sneaking out from under the blanket for that perfect cool spot. Let this sink in. Remarkable fortunes aren't born from luck. They're forged in the slow, stubborn fire of showing up again and again. Feel the softness of your pillow under your head. Let your breathing slow just a little. And picture your own light bulb moment, waiting just around the corner. You've got this. Persistence isn't just a history maker, it's your personal superpower. We've still got more to unpack on this journey of resilient minds and how they shape the world, so don't drift off just yet, unless you're really feeling that sleepy pull, in which case, I won't blame you. Keep that quiet determination simmering in the back of your mind, and let's see where it takes us next. For now, just rest easy, knowing every no is inching you closer to a yes that could change everything. Hey there, welcome back to this cozy little corner of history and resilience. I hope you're still snuggled up, maybe with a warm blanket or a cup of something soothing nearby. We've been diving deep into how rejection isn't the end, but often the start of something extraordinary. And now it's time to turn the spotlight on you. Yeah, I'm talking directly to you. Don't hide under those covers. Let's take a gentle stroll through your own journey, reflecting on how you've turned or can turn those no's into the kind of yeses that make your heart do a little happy dance. So, keep those eyes half closed, let your breathing slow, and let's unpack this together with a whispery vibe that's all about calm and clarity. Picture this. You're standing at a crossroads in your life. Maybe it's a literal one, like that time you got lost on a road trip with a GPS that had the audacity to say, recalculating every 5 seconds. Or maybe it's metaphorical, a moment when a door slammed shut in your face, a job you didn't get, a dream that got deferred, or a project that flopped harder than a fish out of water. Hey, see what I did there? Flop fish. Okay, I'll stop. But here's the thing. Every rejection is just a detour, not a dead end. And history? Oh, it's got some prime examples to prove that point. Let's ease into one now. Let's travel back to the late 19th century and meet a man who knew rejection like the back of his hand, Thomas Edison. You've heard of him, right? The guy who basically lit up the world with his light bulb. But here's the kicker. Edison didn't just fail once or twice. Oh no, he failed over 1,000 times before getting that incandescent bulb to glow. 1,000. Imagine pitching an idea to a room full of investors and getting laughed out over and over again for years. Yet Edison didn't pack up his lab and call it quits. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Talk about reframing rejection. This isn't just a fun fact. It's a documented piece of history straight from Edison's own notes and biographies. His persistence turned a string of no's into a triumph that literally changed how we live. Feel that little spark of inspiration. Let it settle in, warm and tingly, like the first sip of hot cocoa on a chilly night. Now, for something a bit quirkier, let's dive into a lesser-known, slightly fringe detail about Edison. Rumor has it that during his endless experiments, he kept a bizarre habit of napping under his workbench with a metal ball in each hand. Why? Well, supposedly, if he drifted into too deep a sleep, the balls would drop, clatter to the floor, and wake him up. It's said he believed this kept him in a creative twilight state, where ideas flowed best. Is it true? Who knows? There's no hard evidence, just whispers from old lab assistants. But imagine that for a second. Rejection after rejection. And this guy's out here inventing sleep hacks with hardware store props. If that's not dedication, I don't know what is. Maybe I should try it next time I'm stuck on a script, except I'd probably just bonk myself on the head. Of course, not everyone agrees on Edison's legacy. Historians still argue whether his success was truly due to his resilience or if it was more about his knack for marketing and taking credit for others' ideas, like those of Nikola Tesla who, let's be honest, got the short end of the stick in the history books. Was Edison a genius of grit, or just a master of spin? That's a debate for the academics to hash out over their dusty tomes. For us, right now, under the soft glow of your bedside lamp, let's just take the lesson. Rejection didn't stop him, no matter how you slice it. So, let's bring this back to you. Think about a time you've been turned down. Maybe it was a college application that came back with a polite, "Thanks, but no thanks." Or a date that ghosted you faster than a Snapchat story. Ouch, right? We've all been there. Modern dating is basically rejection on speed dial. How did it feel in that moment? Maybe your chest tightened, or your stomach did that weird flip thing like you're on a roller coaster with no safety bar. But here's the magic question. What did you do next? Did you let that no define you, or did you, even in some small way, pivot? Maybe you applied somewhere else, or you decided to focus on yourself instead of chasing someone who didn't see your worth. That's the Edison energy we're channeling tonight. Every time you choose to keep going, you're rewriting your story. Feel that thought settle into your mind, soft as a feather drifting down to rest. Let's get a little real for a sec. I know reflection isn't always easy. Sometimes looking back at rejections feels like poking at an old bruise, tender, a bit achy. But imagine this. You're sitting by a quiet lake at dusk, the kind of scene where the water's so still, it's like a mirror. The air smells faintly of pine, and there's a cool breeze brushing against your skin. That's the headspace we're aiming for as you think about your journey. Those rejections? They're just ripples on the surface. They don't change the depth of who you are. And every time you push through, you've added a layer to your own fortune, not just the money kind, but the kind that's made of grit, wisdom, and quiet strength. Speaking of fortune, if I had a nickel for every time I've been rejected by a Wi-Fi network, I'd be retired on a yacht by now. Just saying. Here's another light-hearted nudge to keep the vibe mellow. Think of rejection as a bad first draft. You know, like when you're writing an essay and your first attempt is so cringe, you want to burn your laptop. Been there, done that. Thank goodness for cloud backups. But then you revise. You tweak. And suddenly, it's not half bad. Your life is like that. Every no is just feedback, not a final grade. So as you're lying there, maybe with the faint hum of a fan in the background, let that idea sink in. You're still writing your story. And the plot twists? They're coming, trust me. And hey, let's not forget the modern world's obsession with perfection. Scroll through social media for 5 minutes, and it's all highlight reels and "I woke up like this" nonsense. Spoiler, they didn't. Filters are a thing. But behind every polished post, there's a pile of rejections and mess-ups nobody talks about. So give yourself a break. You don't have to have it all figured out right this second. Just keep showing up, even if it's messy. That's the secret sauce of resilience. Feel your shoulders relax a little as you let go of that pressure, like a weight lifting off in slow motion. As we near the end of this section, I want you to do something small but powerful. Think of one rejection that stung. Doesn't have to be huge, just something that comes to mind. Now, whisper to yourself, "That didn't break me." Maybe you smile a little as you say it. Because it didn't, did it? You're still here, listening to my ramblings, probably half asleep but still kicking. That's triumph. That's your fortune building, brick by quiet brick. Let that thought wrap around you like a soft, worn-in hoodie, comforting and familiar. Now let's slow things down even more, like a gentle tide pulling back from the shore. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale for 4, hold for a moment, and exhale for 6. Feel your body soften into wherever you're resting, whether it's a plush pillow or a cozy couch. We've walked through history tonight, from Edison's stubborn glow to your own quiet victories. And I hope, as your eyelids grow heavier, you're feeling a little lighter, a little more at peace with the bumps along your path. Imagine a soft golden light spilling over you, warm and kind, washing away any lingering doubts from the day. Every rejection you've faced, Every door that closed, they're just part of the landscape now, distant hills on a horizon you've already passed. You're moving forward, even if it's just a step at a time, and that's more than enough. Let your mind drift to a place of stillness, maybe a memory of a quiet moment when you felt truly safe, truly yourself. Hold on to that as your thoughts begin to blur at the edges, soft and hazy. I'm so glad you joined me for this journey tonight. Let these last whispers be a reminder that you're stronger than any no thrown your way. You're crafting your own remarkable fortune, one day, one choice at a time. So, as the world quiets around you, let go of everything else. Just rest. Just be. The story continues tomorrow, but for now, it's time to slip into dreams as gentle as a whisper on the wind. Sweet dreams.